answer for the rise of Facebook, right? So Facebook has become, a big community, and that's what that social network is for, is sort of sharing with people that things that you're up to. And LinkedIn is sort of a business network where you share what you're up to in your business world. And that's sort of the differentiation between Facebook and LinkedIn. It's a little less cat video and a little more oriented towards, business building and lead generation.
And one of the other things that we found with LinkedIn, and I learned this a long time ago, many of you might not know it. I started off getting laid off and getting offered a speaking gig, and I was teaching about Twitter. And I learned to, speak about LinkedIn and Facebook and stuff like that. But I learned that for me, having all of these social profiles allowed me to rank in Google. I have a unique name, so that helps out a little bit. But there is actually another Mandy White in the world. She's a yoga instructor in Australia. And as soon as I started setting up all these social network profiles, I quickly ranked above her, and then started to do some ranking for, different kinds of community speaking that I was doing. And that also helped me to get booked. And LinkedIn, as you can see here on this slide, it's the number 2 thing that shows up when people Google. So it's got a lot of, even higher sometimes than YouTube or Facebook. It's really prominent in the search engine. So you want to make sure that you're showing up in the searches like how you're showing up in LinkedIn. So we are just about, we're top of the hour here. So I'm going to give you one more fun fact before we dive into the official content. A couple of other things, like this is just like the pre-show, like why are we going to be talking to you tonight about LinkedIn? If you can make any of the topics that you speak on fit any of these dozen, this is my dirty dozen list, right? There are 12.9 million people on LinkedIn talking about leadership and management. Okay, big topic. So if you're looking to have corporate clients hear you on a podcast, and I shared the link today that 1 in 6 people are listening to podcasts on a regular basis, right? So, and it's usually the more affluent clients who are doing that. So it's probably more affluent clients means they're C-suite executives. They've got, they own their own companies, right? They're successful.
Affluent means they also have money to spend.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
And so these are the topics that they are looking to find experts in and around. And if you can't right now tell me that you fit into any one of these categories, then we need to have a conversation because I can guarantee that whatever topic you're talking on, we work with a lot of intuitives, we work with a lot of healers, and we're helping them get into corporate. We're helping them get into use their woo-woo skills as it is to help corporations, because we are big believers that emotional intelligence had its heyday a while back ago, but energy intelligence and energy leadership, and that includes modalities like Reiki and all of the other modalities that speak to energy really are what corporations are, the leading edge corporations are going to be tied into now. So a couple quick facts as everybody, we've still got some people joining in. Thank you. As you're joining in, just let us know where you're calling in from, please. What part of the country or the world are you calling in from? Ron, you want to take this one?
The average household income of a Facebook user is $50,000 to $75,000. The average household income of a LinkedIn user is $109,000. That is quite a bump when you think about the number of people. There are over 300 million LinkedIn users, many of which are paying money each month to be on the network. Right? They're actually stroking a check. Facebook. No, they're stroking a check to be on the network. And it's not required to be, it's not required that you pay money to be on LinkedIn, but there are advanced features and advanced things that you can take advantage of that many, many, many people are using. because they see it as a platform for them to do business.
So professionals are on LinkedIn looking for solutions to their problems. And I've said, don't drive them to drink by hiding out on Facebook. Like, go be who you are on LinkedIn. Go share the thought leadership content that you've got, because they're there looking for you. All professionals are consumers. One of the misnomers that we get a lot about LinkedIn is, well, I'm not looking for a job, or, how I didn't know that people were looking for podcast guests on LinkedIn, and they are, right? It is and TV and media is also looking for experts, right? So you want to show up where the people are looking for. And
that's part of what we're offering in this course material, is a new perspective on how to go about getting the visibility that you need in order to make your goals. We are finding these tools and then using the tools for what they're capable of, right?
Yep. All right. We've got a lot of people who've joined in. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy, holiday schedule here. So glad you could be joining us. I do have the record button recording, so we'll be good there. So everybody, if you'll send some energetic contributions to us that the technology goes well and the internet goes well, that means that I'll get a replay for you after this is over, because we're going to give you as much as we can today in the time that we have allotted, and maybe we'll go over if we've got some questions that you guys need answered or something. But there is a lot on this subject that we can really dive into. But tonight we're going to focus for you guys on how to get booked for 10 podcasts in 10 weeks. So a little bit about like conservatively one podcast per week. Yes. If we spend the next sort of 90 days focused on that. And we will post the replay for you at expandyouриmpact.com/challenge/replay. Don't worry, I'll send you an email out later that will give you that link directly, but just give us about overnight for the team to get the replay up there for you, but you'll have access to that there. Technology, fingers crossed, working out for us. So want to also connect with you here. We've got an amazing group of people on the line. Lots of names I don't recognize. This is so exciting. So just making sure you guys are on the right webinar. We do a lot of webinars. Who here is looking for podcast hosts to actually call and say, yes, when can we book you? That's what you guys are here looking for. Donna says, of course. Kimberly says, yes. David says, yes. Regina says, yeah, of course. Okay. David says, this guy. All right, cool. And your clients are too. How's it get any better than that? And I'm curious, are you also looking for other types of speaking gigs? Because staying at home in your underwear or your workout clothes and talking on on a podcast is awesome. But is anybody interested in doing like keynote speaking? If you're interested in keynotes, let me know that keynotes work. If you're interested in doing association events, let me know that you're into associations. What other kinds of speaking? Webinars, teleseminars, telesummits. Speak to sell events. Let me know if you're open to those two, just so I can make sure that I customize what content that we're going to be sharing with you guys today. All right, association work, cool. And would you also be interested in actually getting some more clients too, or are we just looking for speaking gigs? And if I could show you how to get clients from this method too, would you be even more excited about that?
Clients. Yeah, we got some clients.
Yep. Okay. Yep. And I'm curious, what other things do you need? We're about to hit the new year here, and so you've been probably dreaming about what you want your 2018 to look like. Any of you looking for sponsors for your business? People who just say, hey, you have such an amazing community. Let me just pay you some money so that you can talk about me and my stuff, right? So who wants some sponsors? It's always good to get money, right?
Yeah. We've also had some success with getting media attention.
Oh, media attention? Anybody want to be called up and say, we need somebody to come talk about sexual harassment in the workplace. Can you get over here and be on a 5-minute segment?
Yeah, media attention. If you have a message you're trying to get out into the world, media attention is available.
So Denny says all of those. Keisha says, oh, yes, all of those. Dolores is saying yes. Okay, so you guys are in the right place. And I'm presuming that all of you would like them to like show up as if by magic. You just like to twinkle your nose and
as if by magic.
Make that happen. Well, in case you don't know who we are the authors of Expand Your Impact with LinkedIn. It is a book, an entrepreneur's guide to getting more clients, making more money, and having a lot more fun and freedom. It's basically, we're teaching you the 5 simple steps to making sure that you're creating a consistent 5+ figures from speaking, from clients, from coaching, from training, whatever it might be, from LinkedIn. All of that is possible with total ease. Ron and I are profit strategists, meaning we help people plan and prioritize how they're going to get the money.
We help them raise their vibration.
Because everything is energy.
And that what you put out into the world is what you get back from the world. And
we are in a vibrational universe. So if you are asking for podcasts and you are not getting them, it is something out of alignment that is creating that. We help with organization. We help with keeping the faith, because this journey as an entrepreneur is a constant challenge in, can I do it? Will they pay me? Will they pay me enough? Can I really be that popular? What happens if people don't like me?
Faith is believing before it shows up.
We help them implement things. One of the biggest challenges our entrepreneurs face is they suffer from a little bit of procrastination sometimes, or perfectionism. And we, as the creators of over 60 different online training programs over the last decade, get paid to create content and get paid to create things for people again and again, lots of passive income streams that we have. And so we are very avid fans of implementing fast and getting paid to learn things. So if
get shit done.
Yeah, if you're interested in that, you are in the right place here. Ron and I regularly host mastermind events. This one is one we did in Delray Beach, Florida, just about a year ago, where we gather together all these entrepreneurs from all over the world and continue to sort of push the boundary for them on what's possible for them and their businesses, and help them to just network with one another and mastermind to different levels of their success. And this one's a private retreat we did last January. Again, this one is in South Florida. Everybody loves to come to Florida, especially if they're in the North and West. But today I want to go over what we're going to teach you guys today. I think everybody's kind of joined the line here who's going to be with us live. Actually, we have some more joining live. So what we're going to discover today:
3 simple steps to a profitable LinkedIn profile. How to make connections and why some matter more than others. The #1 content creation strategy you must know. Your pipeline to profits.
You guys want a pipeline to profits?
Pipeline, that's why we're doing some of this. And then simple systems for sanity and alliteration.
So I wonder what it would be like for more conscious entrepreneurs to increase their visibility and profitability on LinkedIn in 2018 with total ease.
Total ease.
Anything that doesn't allow that, we can just destroy and uncreate it all, because we are magical creators of our reality, right? How's it get any better than that? Now, in the pre-work, I gave you guys a tremendously useful document called the LinkedIn Profit Plan. If you did not get a chance to download yours, I'm going to type that in the chat, and this is the 1 second. I'm going to let you distract yourself and go grab that.
For those of you that were asking if you could have the slides, the main thing that you're wanting is this document.
Yeah. And the recording.
Yeah. You're going to get the recording, you're going to get a replay, but this document summarizes the basis of the strategy that we're going to discuss today. And that's why she's trying to get you the document so you have it in front of you. And you can see it from a 50,000 foot view that I am deciding to, have a person, a problem, a place, a product, and a pipeline. And then okay, what are those pieces? And then above that, what buttons do I have to push in order to sort of make stuff happen? We're staying in the 5 Ps of the profitable planning for this training.
Right. So with that, it may not be the best thing for you right now to go print that, but know that that is something you want to set on your calendar to go do. But for right now, whatever you need to see, we're definitely going to have slides on the screen for you to see that. So if you want to just be fully present with us, I'd invite you to that possibility. Now, what we've been teaching about LinkedIn for the past 2 or 3 years ago. And I told you, for those of you who are hopping on later, I got my start teaching about Twitter. And I taught one of my best friends how to generate, she did $35,000 in 1 month from tweeting at home while she was sharing cat videos and talking about cats and stuff. She's a business intuitive, and the previous year had made $18,000 the entire year. And we worked through this sort of plan. I didn't have it at the time, knowing that what that was. But when she made $35,000 on Twitter, and I taught those same strategies to other people, it got me wondering, how does this work for some people and not? And I had another client who was in the lawyer space, and he did $100,000 in a month on Facebook. And for me, the constant conversation that's required on Twitter was not something I was willing to do. And the talking about Trump and sharing cat videos or sharing what food I had for lunch, that just didn't interest me. I'm really a gal who likes to make money, likes to help people get money, have transformation in their lives. And I kind of suck at networking. I suck at those sorts of little chit-chatty conversations. And I was playing this whole time on LinkedIn. It wasn't anything that anybody came to me asking me for, but I was having a lot of success with it 7-8 years ago. And so for me, I really got an aha of the ideal client. And I was also getting clients at higher price points. I was getting corporate clients. And so for me, it really shifted my understanding of each social network in depending on your level of introvertedness, your extrovertedness, and your desired, the topics you have. That's where you decide what social networks to go to. So if you're focused on corporate, if you're focused on entrepreneurs, if you're focused on podcast, media attention, sponsorships and stuff, step away from Facebook. Maybe even in 2018, you just shut your account down, right? It's not necessary. LinkedIn is the place where you guys want to be. And for me, it's helped me get booked on great stages. For those of you who aren't familiar, the lady on the left is Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank. And the lady on the right is the Speaker Hall of Fame for the National Speakers Organization, Sally Hogshead. And people are looking for professional speakers, people who've spoken on, and if you can speak on main stages and if you can speak as keynotes, this also will help your podcasting career too, because they want to know that you know what to do in front of an audience and that you can hold people's attention.
That you're fun to talk to.
Yeah, that you don't just say things that
the podcast is often a semi-structured environment, and they're looking for somebody that's engaging, that they have a message, that they have a certain vibration about them that are going to draw people and create the entertainment factor that they need in order to please their audience.
Now, one of the clients that we got from actually teaching a LinkedIn course 2.5 years ago, got us a client. If any of you guys have you guys heard of Spartan Racing? Put it in the chat. Yes, you've heard of Spartan, or you're a Spartan person. Spartan Racing is one of those extreme sports. And it's the Thursday night on NBC. They have a show of these people doing these extreme sports.
They tend to be running outdoor obstacle races.
Yeah, throwing tires and doing stuff like that. If you've heard of Spartan, let me know that you have in the chat, please. Well, on one of the LinkedIn calls, I had a person who was listening to the webinar and said, you know what, I think that we would like that. We'd like our CEO to get booked for podcast. I think we'd like him to get booked for keynote speeches. We need some sponsors. And so we started using these tools I'm going to show you in just a minute on LinkedIn. And this is my inbox or to him and his team from March to April 7th, and this is where we got the 10 podcasts in 10 weeks, right? I'm showing you all of the emails that got sent that are saying, hey, get him on the Joe Polish show. Hey, get him, here's a list of all the shows he's been on. Let's get him on Wild Alpha. Let's get him on this other show. This one is a podcast and a corporate sponsorship lead. This one here is somebody commented on his article, and that led to inviting him to a podcast.
So
right?
just to be clear, Mandy and our team were managing the profile on behalf of the client as part of a done-for-you service. So we are intimately involved in the profile, the creation. We're at ground zero of this campaign. Not only are we following the basic principles that we're going to teach you today, the reason that this correspondence is going back and forth is because Mandy is inside the messaging apparatus of LinkedIn, seeing the requests coming in and forwarding it to the team to have them take action to get whatever the next step is in coordinating Joe's schedule in order to activate this.
Yeah.
Right? So it is from her personal experience of running this campaign for somebody that all these podcasts, came about.
The podcast leads are. Now, one of the things that I sort of wrestled with in wanting to share this with you guys is the idea that you would sort of scoff at, well, Joe's sort of famous, or right? And I don't have that sort of leadership yet. And so I thought about that, and I have another story that we're going to share as we go through these elements of another client, Shauna, who's just getting out there, just starting to build her platform. And she was able to get booked for 6 podcasts. I think it took her like 10 days or 2 weeks, right? But it wasn't even 10 weeks that she got booked, completely brand new, having never done a podcast before.
And she's an intuitive healer. Like,
right.
She's not a technical person. She's not even like a super vibrant personality. She's kind of quiet, right? She's a little bit quiet and down to earth in her own way.
A little more introverted.
Right, introverted, and she's doing it from Costa Rica. She's doing it from her house. She's got support of her husband, but she's just plowing along. She came to a retreat. We laid out a plan for her in advance as part of a broader coaching program. She needed to get more exposure, and we chose the route of using LinkedIn to get podcasts and using LinkedIn to get clients. She adopted it and put in the work, and wham, she got booked.
Yeah. So I want to show you those 2 extreme examples of, this works when you're super popular, and this, and Joe has his own podcast too, so it also helps him get podcast guests.
Did you have a graphic to share, or is that later?
That's later. Okay. And this also works for clients where they're just starting out, they're just getting their footing, they're just learning how to do all that. So again, I want to promise to you, like, we're going over a lot. We're going to give you as much as we can in our time together. We're going to get this replay for you in case the technology doesn't, in case it cooperates, right? And you've got these tools that we're going to go through as we have our conversation together that are going to get you started on this path. And for those who are like, yes, I'm totally in and I want more information, we're going to give you a resource at the end that will help you to take this to the next level. So with that, type your questions in the chat. Ron and I are both here, so it helps us to manage as we're teaching the content. We are live, like really, we're live. We're here with you right now.
You'd be surprised that you are a contribution in a cooperative sense. We're co-creating this event. As much as we're teaching you, you give us insights on how we're coming across, what we're demonstrating, maybe where we're going too fast or too slow, or if there's different elements that you can do. So for instance, right now, everybody that's involved, can you please give us a yes or no if you have ever been on a podcast?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Right?
To see if we're dealing with newbies here.
Give us a yes or no if you've ever been on a podcast.
Cynthia's no.
And there's no good or bad answer. No. There's no right or wrong answer.
Judgment.
Right. But for those of you
we'll
that
know where you're at with
correct.
This, right? And
correct.
Donna has one of her own. Okay, Jessica's a not yet. Okay. Perfect. Great. Okay, so we also know the chat works.
Yes.
Okay, with that, first step, everybody has their profit plan. The first step is With all of these, we always operate from you can't really screw it up if you are committed to getting the outcome that you desire. So Joe did not follow this strategy, but he was more popular, right? But this is a strategy if you don't have a TV show already, and I've actually worked with a gentleman who was a TV star, and we still went through these steps. But your first step is to take your podcast one sheet. And if you don't have a podcast one sheet, let me know that in the chat. We might have to provide a resource that will help you create that. But a podcast one sheet is basically your bio. You know, Mandy's so awesome, she does this shit. It says, here's what topics Mandy would like to be interviewed about. And here's the suggested interview questions. There's actually a little typo on there we need to fix. And here's how to connect with Mandy on social media so that they can start to get a sense of, you know, who I am and how I talk and whether I might be a good fit for the audience or not.
And just having something like this, if you haven't been on a podcast before, you can imagine just having a little Word document like this. The difference between having a Word document and having a quote-unquote podcast one sheet makes it feel like you're a quality guest, right? Yeah. You're already getting the sense that, okay, all I have to do is put together a basic idea of who I am and what I want to talk about and give them some way to contact me, and then I'm qualified to be on a podcast show.
So I'll send you guys mine, and we also have Joyce's, and we have Shauna's. I don't think Shauna's is like pretty with a graphic designer that did that, but I'll send you guys the one sheets that we have as templates. Now with Shauna,
boom, that's an added bonus that we just created just now.
Just for being on the call. For Shauna, she very simply, her LinkedIn headline right now is podcast guest, and she wrote that content into the experience listing. Shauna specializes in this. She can talk about this. Please interview her about that, et cetera, et cetera.
And just to let you know how we're directly answering the question. The question was, does the one pager get attached to your LinkedIn profile?
It doesn't get attached. It's literally copy and pasted. So you're not going to get the prettiness that this PDF would be, but I'm literally taking the words from the podcast, from the one sheet that I had to send to the graphic designer, and I'm pasting it into a new experience listing within LinkedIn.
And you can provide a link for them to download it and take it with them. But the purpose of what Mandy's saying is you need to make a profile that represents what is in the one sheet, that the one sheet becomes an experience listing on your profile, right? That's a serious technique that Mandy just delivered. And I want to make sure that I hammer it home.
And this, Shauna and I spent like a coaching session together, and we wrote out all the content for this. She posted it on LinkedIn, and that's where within a little over like 2 weeks, 10 days, she had somebody contact her, and they wanted to book her for 6 particularly different shows. And she's gotten a couple more requests since then. And another key to making this work is you have to fucking follow up with the people who are asking you to be on the podcast, or follow up about the possible shows, right?
So the key with this profitable profile is that you're going to create a listing, an experience listing for every type of show or every type of topic.
Yep.
Right?
And if you want other things, so this is something I'm going to interject now and kind of reiterate it all throughout. Sometimes we're sort of really distracted by the bright, shiny objects of, I'd love to get booked for podcasts. I want to get booked for podcasts. And we don't have a monetization strategy sort of behind it. And that's where I'm walking you through these 5 steps, because I still need for you on LinkedIn to talk about that you're the author of this free gift. I still need you to talk about that you're a creator of these events. I still need to talk about that you coach these clients. And I don't want you to put it all together in a listing that says speaker, author, coach, because what that does is it confuses somebody who is trying to look for you, and it doesn't help them. There's a real difference that I find on LinkedIn is I want you to talk about who you be, and you be somebody who solves people's problems. what separates you is not the human doingness that you are, right? So it's not the fact that you've done this in your past or you have this certification or whatever.
That's a resume mentality.
Right. And we are so not wanting to be a resume on LinkedIn because then we look like everybody else and then we charge what everybody else charges. If you're going to charge transformational rates, if you're going to really invite clients into transformation because you've taken all the shit that's happened to you in your life and you've pulled together all these resources that the world's never seen, we've got to learn to talk about that in a way that solves the problems that people are out there on LinkedIn searching for. So
that's why we're trying to break the framework of how people have typically used this resource called LinkedIn as a listing, right? I know it's called an experience listing. We're saying, fuck that, do it this way. It works better for what it is that we're doing, right?
Right. So just jot down what these are. Every single hat you wear in your business, every single different combination of person, problem, place, and program you want to offer needs a separate experience listing. And when I say experience listing, I'm not saying separate LinkedIn account. You're going to have one LinkedIn account and it's going to show up like you have 10 different jobs that you've held over the course of however long you've had your company. Go look at my profile on LinkedIn and you will see that I have like 20 different jobs that I hold from, this time to this time. People don't look at your LinkedIn like a resume like that. They search and you want to show up in searches, or they're connected to you and they search and they do searches. And those are all sort of keyword driven, or they're driven by phrases that you're using inside LinkedIn.
So without having to explain and defend it, if you have questions about why we're doing this, bring it up. We might address a few of them, but this is a key to getting a profitable profile, is to list each hat that you wear separately and to speak to the being that you are.
The problems that you solve in that way.
And that alone will get you a major hit in your business.
Yeah. So let me know that you understand that concept. Even if you don't know how to actualize it, you still understand. I've got one experience listing. I lump everything I'm doing together. I understand why the universe can't deliver me what I'm asking for, because I kind of just am asking for it all.
Yeah, you're asking to be a coach, author, speaker, writer, parent, all at the same time.
Yeah. What if you are a walking embodiment of magic? And
I love that.
That is what you are, right? That is what you are. But we have to help you tune to the different vibrations that are going to help you get those gigs and help you get those conversations. Now, once you put your one sheet up on LinkedIn and you start to let everybody know, hey, I'm a podcast guest. I'm willing to receive podcast bookings. Book me now. Here's what I could be booked for. You need to go make connections. Now, this is another strategy where some people will tell you only connect with people you have physically touched in the real world and don't connect with anybody else. I'm saying, fuck that. It doesn't work. Here's why you should connect with everybody, and some people who are called super connectors, which we'll share with you how to do that later. If you currently have, let's say, 77 connections and you are only connecting with your trusted friends and colleagues, if somebody searches for you, you are only going to show up in about you're only going to show up in 8,000 searches to the people who are second degree connected to you.
So that means that only those people can ever see you or find you.
Yep. And for the people who are third degree connections, only 245,000 people can see you. But if you just make it a daily habit to connect with more people, and you now have 541 people that you're connected with, your second degree connection jumps. That is such an exponential rate, from 8,000 to 675,000.
Yes.
Now, how I came across this strategy is I actually was reaching out to famous keynote speakers, and I found one on LinkedIn, and he was a first degree connection, and I called him up and I was like, hey, I do LinkedIn management. I'd like to, help you get booked for some gigs. And he's like, no, I have a LinkedIn person. She optimized my profile. I have speaker everywhere. And he was also making the mistake I talked about, number one, because he said he was a speaker and he was an author and he was a coach. And I said, well, let me just show you something, sir. I said, you and I are connected. So when I search for speaker, you do show up. I grant you that. But let me log into my husband's account. Now, my husband and I are first degree connected, but to the gentleman I was talking to, he and Ron were a second degree connection. So by logging into Ron's account and searching for speaker, like I had done in my own account, this gentleman didn't show up at all because he had a very small network of people he was connected to, because he believed that the number of connections, a small number of connections, mattered most. And so I showed him that, you know, your search engine person could have shown you how you got found to the 77 people who would find you, but you're not being found by the greater good of people. So go connect with people. Every day you need to put into your 2018 plan, connect with people. So one of the things that we can do to get you more connections is try a peekaboo strategy. If you go and look at people's profiles, they will go, ooh, why is she looking at my profile? And they'll ask to connect with you. The checklist of people you want to go on a regular daily basis and look to connect with is podcast hosts, right? You want to go to clients. You want to people who might be clients, who have the job titles of some other people that are clients, right? You want to look at vendors who might, be able to provide services for you. You want to connect with people who could be sponsors. You want to connect with people who could be JV partners. Like, I don't know what the universe is open to gifting you, but I would highly recommend just connecting with as many people as possible. And for our clients, when we help coach them, we give them a strategy for every day. Here's who I want you to go connect with.
So to recap what she's saying, and I want to hear a got it in the chat. Okay, if you're getting what we're saying, please give me a got it, or else we've got to go back through it. Right? There is a place on LinkedIn when you log in that says people who viewed your profile, and it has a number. And you just click on that, and everybody's vain, and everybody wants to know who's checking them out, right? And if you go and look at people, you'll come up on that listing, and they'll have an option to reach out and connect with you.
Yeah, and that's way better than you reaching out to them and saying, connect with me.
Yes.
Right? To Hazel's question, she's saying, do I connect with people who are second degree connections? Yes. So right now, go into LinkedIn, search podcast host, and not on this webinar, but later, right? Tomorrow, you can literally just go connect, and hit 20 different new people who are podcast hosts. And then the next morning when you wake up, you will probably, out of those 20 you asked to connect, 3 or 4 of them say, hey, let's connect. You've got some momentum here, and we can take it to the next step. Now, we do need to keep moving on, so I can't go into like showing you the screen of how that looks, but just using the strategy for Joe. And again, Joe's somebody who is, quote, famous, right? He had 10,000 connections on LinkedIn to start with, and now we're over 18,000. And what's even more important is, how many of you struggle with having people view your content when you're on Facebook, right? You make a status update and Facebook is all like, oh, you suck, we don't show your content. On LinkedIn, the more connections that he over here has, 3,000 people in a day have viewed his profile, where it was before 17 people, like his mom, his dad, his friend, his colleagues, right? Here, 2,000 people viewed of article that he posted, right? So just going and making a strategy of somebody, if it's you, if it's somebody on your team, if you want to hire our team, just going every day and making new connections in a targeted fashion is going to get you the increased visibility you're looking for, okay? More connections equals more visibility. So if that makes sense, right? Type got it in the chat. So that I know that we can kind of move on to this next section. Yep, got it. Cynthia's got it. Dolores has it. Jessica has it. Cool. All right. Now, everybody take a deep breath.
Yeah.
We got 2 of the 5 steps figured out, right? Everybody's already seeing some possibilities here, right? Now, the third step is you have a new problem. So you reached out to 10 new podcast hosts and they connected with you. Now, what the fuck do you do? Right? You have to, just giving you a broad overview, 3% of those people that connect with you are going to be actively searching for your thing. That's why they connected with you, right? 7% of them are open to it in the future, but you know what? Our schedules are booked right now. We can't handle it, right? We're not interested in that topic. 30% are going to be aware for the future. 30% are going to be totally unconscious, and 30% are going to be like, hell no. And those are usually the ones that don't connect with you at all, right? So your job now is to go into relationship building marketing, and to learn to automate that as quickly as possible and learn how to find the people who are ready now, find the people who are going to be ready for you, and convert the ones who aren't quite aware that your topic would be actually a good fit for their show, right? So with that, the other resource that I've got for you, it's on the same page, but it's the tab that says Conscious Content Creation.
So on the menu, it says Conscious Content Creation. And there's another PDF that Mandy's showing you now. They're both on the same website on a different navigation point.
Yeah, I'm going to give them direct URL to that one.
Okay.
That is another one you're going to want to print off. And for your topic of expertise, I need you to walk through all of these 9 steps and say, okay, so I want to teach about sexual harassment in the workplace, and I want to help leaders not have this problem, right? I want to help and so you're going to walk through this document, the 9 steps for social influence, and say, okay, so how can I take a tiny piece of this topic, talk about it on LinkedIn in such a way that all these new people that I'm connecting with will see it and will be more enabled to make the logical conclusion that, oh, this person's an expert, and oh, they're going to be somebody good to interview on our show, to interview on the TV, to interview in our, Shauna is also an Inc. contributor or entrepreneur, one of those two, right? So she didn't get that just by asking. We've had clients ask before. When you build a following, and Jessica started, I don't know what Jessica we've got on the call tonight, but Jessica, who is participating in our LinkedIn Profit Plan Challenge program, went from having 1 connection on LinkedIn to now having 4,000 connections on LinkedIn. That gives her a lot greater visibility for when she does start to create content. And there's a way to create the content. A lot of you are teachers and you create content from a teaching perspective. But look at how I'm presenting the content to you here, right? This is why you come learn from Ron and I, is because you see it modeled so well. Because when a client's coming to you and they say, I'm not getting the social influence I'm looking for, I can easily look at that and say, well, you're not doing step 1 and you kind of suck at step 2, and step 3 you're doing good, but step 4, 5, 6, and I can easily identify where they're not taking the steps that are required to be successful. So you want to be able to create this kind of content for yourself because it's going to tremendously help you in your profitability, which is the next step that we're going to talk about here in just a second. So
Mandy has written this document, the 9-step system, and she's corresponded it with the word influence. So you see an I, an N, and an F. On the corresponding page, there's the L, the U, the E for influence. As you walk through each of those steps, it prompts you on the next piece to create the content. We have additional resources that flush this out, and this is a topic we could go into for a full hour just on this topic.
Oh, they could come play for a day if they wanted.
Right.
Right.
For the purposes of expediting it, we've given you the model. We'll have some other examples, but I want you to also see at the header graphic, the picture above is the other profit plan that Mandy gave you, and that this page is a subset of that plan. This is part 3 on that document, and see how the part 3 has been enhanced and now it's blown up, and so you can see that she's tied the first document to this document. I want you to see that it's cohesive in that way.
Right. All right. So say got it. Even if I know that you're starting to feel overwhelmed because you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize there was all of this that was required. Right? At least, so here's the biggest gift I can give you, even if you choose to not play with Ron and I later in getting some help with this. If I can just help you to understand what all's required, it's kind of like saying, honey, I want to have a baby, and not realizing you have to like actually birth the thing and then raise it for 19 years and pay for its college and
have sex.
Right? Like all of those, right? If I can at least let you know that there's going to be some not so fun stuff that you have to learn to master, I've gifted you some awareness that I've spent millions of dollars learning for myself over the years and learning the hard way. Being on podcasts and having nothing happen afterwards, right? So you guys got it. Let's move on to step 4. Now, we've been on the podcast. We've gotten connected with a podcast host we'd like to be on a podcast for. We've started sharing content with them about who we are and like what amazing stuff we're up to. And maybe even we've gotten booked for that podcast. Guys, if you go onto a podcast and you just have a great time talking and you think that that's going to produce results, I think it takes probably about 10 podcasts before you're like, that didn't pay the mortgage. Like, oh fuck, I can't afford a vacation for my kids because it felt good to do it, but it didn't result in, my phone's not ringing. I have no website traffic. Nobody opted in for my free gift. That's where your pipeline to profits comes in. Now, I personally have been trained by Digital Marketer, gone through extensive certifications. I've been in the Dan Kennedy direct response marketing world for more than a decade. So I know a thing or two about sales funnels, and this is also what has helped me be profitable from day one. So when I talk about a funnel, or I talk about a sales funnel, so I'll show you an example here. When somebody is on a podcast, or I'm on a podcast, right? And actually I have an example here. I think Joyce is on the line, or she was on the line at some point here. I'm going to drag this over so I can show you guys. So when I'm on a podcast, I'll show you this page. So I was on Joyce's show probably a year or so ago, right? And at the end of Joyce's show, I say, you know what, Joyce, I have a free gift for all of your listeners. If they go to expandyouриmpact.com/second wind with Joyce, they can get my LinkedIn profit plan. And so I show them all the things that they're going to get. So the people, can we have everybody go there right now? And I purposely talk about this resource that I've got. She's happy to offer it because it's such an amazing value that I'm giving her listeners. And because I have a page dedicated to each show that I'm on, I can track in my back end, okay, so on Joyce's show, I only had 10 people opt in, but those 10 people went through my sales funnel and produce this many sales conversations or this many dollars in revenue. And I got booked on that show and only got this many opt-ins. And it also allows people for me to start, like, this is a page on my website. So of course it advertises all of these other kinds of things that I'm able to support people with. So maybe they liked me and they came to this because they kind of want to know about LinkedIn, but they really would rather, do some other, get speaking gigs or do some other things.
Find you on Facebook and connect with your Facebook group or your Facebook page. Right. Subscribe to a newsletter. Take a free gift. There's lots of ways to play out the funnel. What Manny's trying to show you is you have to have a plan going into it to understand what you're trying to do.
And this goes back into 3% of everybody you come in contact with is ready to buy now. But the other 67% need to be wooed, need to be courted, need to be conversed with. And I was showing Ron the other day, over the last 10 years, if you go into my Infusionsoft, which is the email software I use, I can tell you who subscribed to my list on, the very first speaking gig I ever gave. I have the date and the location written out in Infusion, and I have the people who signed up. And I can track back, well, it took that person 10 years to come finally, buy a program from me. Or in this case, it took the person a month, right? So setting up all of these sort of little subsystems is going to help your profitability tremendously, all right? So type got it in the chat if you start to understand that, you just start to understand that you got to have a plan for making the money, not just getting booked on podcasts. Okay. I'm sorry if that news sucks, but you will thank me later on, because just going and talking for a while is great, but it doesn't pay the mortgage.
Right. And you see that Mandy gave you an idea of a templated page where it's just a copy paste and change the page name. This is a very, very easy.
And change the infusion code. It's super simple. You can have, somebody on your team do that. All right. So starting to feel a little overwhelmed. There's a lot to go on here. Let's talk about systems for sanity. So another resource I've got for you, another unannounced bonus, which didn't want to drag with me there. How about this? Here's the 7 steps you want to take every day on LinkedIn. And you want to figure out how to get somebody on your team or for us to sort of manage for you. But these are steps that, just basic. How many people am I connected to? How many people in the multiple target markets, the podcasts I'm looking to get booked for, the keynote speeches I'm looking to get booked for, how many new connections in each of those areas am I looking for? Am I increasing my numbers for? And then how am I moving that into, okay, so what content gets created to support them? What new thing can I create that's going to move them into a deeper relationship with me faster? Okay, and that document's there to help you to do that. With some examples there too. The most important system though, Ron, you and I have been doing this for 10 years. We've been helping people out LinkedIn for the last 3. What is the most important system? Like, they can have all these fancy spreadsheets. They can track what gigs they're doing. But the most important strategy is
how you show up.
Mm-hmm.
How
it's
you
the
show
difference from being a victim to LinkedIn, to your business, to opportunities, and somebody who's like, you know what? If Joe got booked for podcasts, so can I. How do I make this work?
Yeah. The mindset is critically important, because it's your mindset that leads to fear of talking to people, fear of connecting with people, uncertainty about what to say, uncertainty about your worth, confusion, overwhelm are all symptoms of a mind that is uncertain.
Yep.
And the mindset is totally critical.
So one of the most important pieces of how we teach LinkedIn, which I've read everyone else's sales letters who teaches LinkedIn. I know all the other LinkedIn coaches, right? The number one difference between the way we teach and they teach is we teach you to actually, we're very tactical. You'll get in, the program with us and we'll teach you where to click and what to do. But the most important thing is I'm actually going to teach you how to ask questions of yourself and your business that open up new possibilities for you. So one of my favorite quotes from one of my mentors is, every time you ask a question, you empower. Every time you come to a decision, a judgment, a conclusion, a computation, you're coming to the narrowest version of an awareness that you could possibly have. So a lot of our students get stuck in like the mental masturbation of, well, there's only 3,000 podcast guests that I'm second degree connected to. What happens when I get past the 3,000? And it's like, shut up. Just go connect with the 3,000 and then come back to me with a question of, okay, so what do I say to these 3,000 now? And then once you say something, then the next question is, okay, well, how do I get booked? Like, you can't see 10 steps ahead, even though I've given you this basic overview. For each one of you, you're going to run into your own little roadblocks. But if I can teach you to think for yourself and think about,
are they allowed to think for themselves?
My first 6-figure client came from me failing at doing a 5-figure webinar, right? But I stayed in a question of like, God damn it, I just want money right now. And I want to have fun playing with new clients. Like, what else is possible here? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the questions we teach you. What else is possible? By learning how to say that, you call somebody up, you get an awareness of like, oh, they don't want the thing they bought, they want something else. Let me sell them that thing. Oh, that's a lot more fun to play with, right?
So the original system for sanity that Mandy's delivering to you now is to learn to ask questions and to learn to manage yourself so that everything comes to you with more ease and more joy and more glory. And we spend a fair amount of time just processing people and helping them achieve more clarity and more ease and more peace in their life. And LinkedIn tactically is a wonderful tool. And what differentiates us and from most of the other people that you have an opportunity to work with is that we are gifted with creating this space and opportunity for you guys to be able to see yourself as a larger, contribution to the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the first system for sanity.
Yeah. So with that, I just want to share just a couple of more samples of clients these are examples of where they thought that they wanted X, and we taught them to think a little bit differently from what they were experiencing. And, magic showed up. This is Davina. This happened actually just last year. She had a client who she was really pitching this, $6,000 thing to. And the client said, no, I'm not interested in that. And just by coaching her through what else is possible here? And how can it get better than you ever thought? She went back to the client with, I realized the client didn't want the $6,000 thing. The client wanted this other thing, and I'd be happy to receive 15 for it. So the client turned over her Amex and paid the entire 15 right then and right there. Right. So that's the kind of magic that I don't think that any other program sort of teaches you to be that way with. LinkedIn has everything you could want in it. But if you don't continue to stay in question about, okay, so how can I get what I really want here? Who can help me do that? And get over it's selfish to just get what I want, or, I can't really have what I want, then you're not going to get it. You haven't chosen that. So with Linda, who's in the blue box at the top, within 3 weeks of her making over just her profile, she got herself a mastermind facilitation thing where she facilitated a mastermind retreat for a group of accountants or lawyers or something. Kathleen uses the concepts we're teaching and gets herself 5 to 6 new clients a week, and she regularly gets herself 20 new connections. Victoria is a recruiter. Recruiter would seem like, oh, there's people looking for jobs on LinkedIn, but a recruiter actually has 2 hats that they wear. One is they got to get candidates to fill the positions, and the other thing is they've got to get people who have the jobs that that she wants to fill, that she gets paid for filling. So with Victoria, we really supported her through creating that system to use LinkedIn to get the people who had jobs to get filled to contact her and say, hey, I'm ready to pony up 20% of my next veterinarian if you'll find them for me. And she was able to, we also helped her to integrate. She was giving away her coaching services originally, and we taught her how to integrate that into, it was a competitive advantage for her as a recruiter to be a coach, but she wasn't charging for that. She wasn't giving the clients.
And she was offering massive value. It was in retention. Employee retention was around the area that she would coach in.
Right.
And it's an extraordinarily valuable option for people within the practice.
So each of these clients, we feel like, their influence has expanded, their impact has expanded, their incomes have expanded because they've chosen to actively play on LinkedIn, and they are in the process of mastering the 5 steps in the LinkedIn Profit Plan. So I wonder for you guys now, as we're sort of wrapping things up, how would your business be different if you were growing your network by 20-something new connections per day, and you were getting, like Kathleen, 5 to new clients per week, or 5 to new podcasts a week? And we conservatively said, if you get 1 per week for the next 10 weeks, you guys would be happy, right? But if you could get more than that, would you be good? Right? I'm like, I need something in the chat to make me know you're still there. It still sounds like people are there.
Yes,
right?
I'm good.
Yes, I would like that. That would totally be awesome. And let me tell you, people, if you haven't realized it yet, you get to play on LinkedIn in your pajamas, in your workout clothes. Like, you're not going anywhere. You don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to put a bra on. You don't have to put makeup on. You can do this all from wherever you are in the world, right? You can you can be on LinkedIn, right? And you can be making these connections and changing your business and changing your life. So my question for you now is, based on what we've told you, are you ready to help yourself craft not only just getting yourself a podcast? If I just helped you get booked for a podcast, that would be great, but you have to, I would be remiss in teaching you that if I didn't help you map out how you're going to make money from it, right? So would you like to increase your visibility and profitability with LinkedIn?
Hell yeah.
Yes. Then Ron and I have created a program called the LinkedIn Profit Plan Challenge. We've got a little over 60 people in the program right now, and we want to invite you to coming and playing with us if that would seem like it might support you. So what that looks like here, let me get the fun page here. If you'll go to expandyouриmpact.com/challenge, which I'll put in the chat for you, right? Oops, that seems to go to just one person, and I kind of want it to go to everybody. If you go to LinkedIn Profit Plan, or just expandyourimpact.com/challenge, here's what you're going to do. We're going to walk you through, we're basically going to play together for the next year. Okay. Ron and I are going to be committed to playing with you for the next year, going through these 5 steps, because again, even if I get you booked for a podcast in the next 10 weeks, I still got to follow up with you, and you still are going to need help probably in, okay, I got booked and now nobody signed up for my free gift, or, oh, fuck, what is my free gift? Or, oh, they got the free gift, but they're not signing up to be coaching clients, right?
So we've done this a couple times now, and we originally had it as a 90-day program.
Yep.
Right. And it was super effective for some people. And then other people, life happens and they get distracted or they get something else going on, and they felt like they needed a little bit more support. So we have extended it to a full year. So within the program, you're going to get recorded modules that go through.
Right now, as soon as you join, we're going to give you training on how to create that profile. Okay?
Right. It's a series of recorded modules.
We're going to give you content about creating connections. What do you need to do every day on LinkedIn to get new connections? And we'll show you how to do some of that stuff in an automated way. I'm really not having you log into LinkedIn every day and click 25 buttons, 25 connects. We have software that you'll get within the program that'll let you automate this. We're going to teach you that 9 steps for social content creation. And we'll be customizing this together. We'll be creating your pipeline to profit over the course of the time together. We'll be helping you to either pick a team for yourself or help you, outsource that to somebody else and say, you know what, this is so not something I want to do. I want to be on stage. I don't want to mess with that. How it's delivered, right? So you're going to get in-depth training, a lot of training. There's probably over 30 hours of content there for you to go through, and it's all broken into 20 to 30 minute segments, so that you can just start with piece 1, implement piece 1. Do piece 2, get results on piece 2. Start piece 3, get results on 3, right? You get a private members only, it's actually a Facebook group, so we can answer whatever questions you have on a daily basis. We do a lot of energetic alignments, meaning you're going to go, well, I'm afraid to reach out to this podcast host because it's not quite in my niche, or I'm not quite sure what to do. We can create an audio that you listen to that will help you sort of magically shift those, I don't want to do this, into something that becomes more fun and something that comes with ease, right? And if you are in any of those 5 steps within your business, not having ease with creating sales funnels, or not having ease with knowing how to talk to people, those are all things we can make energetic alignments about, right?
So with the program, just to highlight what Mandy was saying, there's actually a module that's called Connections to Clients, which gives you scripts of emails to send and conversations to have. It gives you the actual words you could use to open up a conversation with somebody you haven't spoken with before, right? Like, this is very, very hands-on, broken down, tried and true, proven material. And then what we recognize is, now that we've laid the groundwork for it, we have to help you get over the tightrope, right? So inside of this, there's 36 group coaching calls. We rotate the time of day and the dates.
we had everybody, there's some calls at 9 a.m. Eastern time, there's some calls at noon Eastern time, and there's some calls at 9 p.m. Eastern time, so that there's always an opportunity. And if you're not asking questions on the live calls, then you're asking questions in the Facebook group. And we could literally, if you want me to walk through your sales funnel on a coaching call, we will do that. I will help write copy for that. We will in another moment help somebody clear some sort of energetic block they have to their pricing, or we'll help somebody to, sometimes technology fucks up and it just doesn't work. So we might need to clear the energetic block you have about your computer fritzing out every single time you almost get something finished, right? You'll get a free ticket to a live event Ron and I are going to host in 2018. We're constantly surprising our clients with other programs that are going to support them through implementing whatever's going on. One of the new programs that we've got coming out is about webinars. Having done six-figure webinars ourselves, we know what it's like to struggle to get people to a webinar. And then we know what it's like to sell on a webinar, and that's different from teaching on a webinar, right? So stuff like that is just stuff that we regularly gift you guys to support you in what's going on. And you get instant access to all 5 modules with that. And so to get over to, we've got 2 pricing options. If any of this sounds awesome and you'd like some support in this area, here's how that looks. We have a one-time payment of $997, like for you to get yourself one client. I'm hopefully all of you, one client will be at least a lifetime value of $1,000. If not, we need to have a separate conversation, right? Or one keynote speaking gig will get you that. Or 10 new people on your list will get you that, for whatever you're selling. But a one-time payment of $997 and 3 monthly payments of $397. Now, the course does go through a year. You get a year of support. We are having people make the payments shorter than that because we find that as soon as you get done paying for it, your results exponentialize, right? And with that, we've got 2 bonuses for you. For those who are hanging out on the call, I got to go find my keynotes again. Let's see what those are, Ron. So if you join us while we're still on this webinar, I have a program called Speaking Magic Bullet, and it encompasses sort of the energetics of what it is you need to do. So before I go and I speak, it used to be that I would go and I would speak and I would feel like I was just giving to the audience and giving to the audience, and I would be so exhausted after I spoke, even on a podcast or in a live event. And now what I've learned to do is have this beautiful exchange of gifting to the audience what I have and receiving from them so much more that I actually kind of get like a high after I do it. And my capacity to create is so much more exponentialized. And so I talk and I walk through those portions of things with you. And what I've learned for myself too over the years is speaking in a live audience where you can see the people falling asleep and you can see the people, nodding their head yes, and you can see the people opening their wallets and running to the back of the room. That's amazing. But when it comes to doing a webinar, and you have no idea who's checking Facebook while you're talking, or
that's why we need the chat sometimes. That's why we need the chat sometimes, because we want to know that you're interactive.
So Ron and I have invested several tens of thousands of dollars learning from other gurus about how to, sufficiently sell. I've also been involved with partners who do it in such a slimy way that it feels really gross. And so, I'm committed to helping do it in a very conscious way. I give a lot of information, and I still know that there's a shit ton of stuff you got to know on the back end of this, right? So Speaking Magic Bullet is all about that. It's the literal logistics of setting up all those kinds of sales funnels, and it's the energetic stuff too of like, how do you continue to be the space, the energy, the space, the consciousness that you got to be in order to, like, these people need what you have, and you've got to be able to figure out how to communicate that. So that program's about that. So if you decide to come join us in the program,
that's yours to keep.
It's yours to keep. It is one of those bonuses that we'll support you in, because you got to do it on a podcast and you got to do it in a any other speaking gig that you offer. And then we're going to open up to some questions now here too. If you decide to do the pay in full, I'm going to gift you the directory of influencers that my team and I have put together. It's a list of podcasters in various industries. It's a list of the top bloggers and the top social media stars.
And how to contact them.
And their phone numbers, their emails, their LinkedIn profile links. And yes, there's their Facebook links and their Twitter links because
it's social media.
It's social media. You'll want to connect with them in all those different places. But if you pay in full, that bonus will be yours. And for everyone who joins, you're going to get that Speaking Magic Bullet bonus there. But now I'd like to open up if people do have questions that support you in kind of understanding whether this program is right for you or not. Like, not to be confusing. In the program, you're going to learn how to go out. If your focus is, I only want podcasts, Mandy, then we can spend the entire year helping you map out the 5 steps to getting podcasts. And that can be the only thing you work on, right? But I'm sorry, you don't usually offer something for paid on a podcast. So I have to make sure that there's something on the back end that you're going to get paid for. And so part of the thing we're going to spend the year on is what happens after somebody's on a podcast that we're going to get them to pay you money for. And if that's coaching or consulting or training or roofing or
overcoming overwhelm,
whatever it might be, we're going to help support you in going from podcast to that particular content.
Inside the program, I'm just going through the list of what we've covered, right? You have the profit plan, the initial PDF. There's a get booked spreadsheet, the spreadsheet that tracks, right, who you're talking to, what stage you're in, and keeps you on track so that you're meeting your goals. There's a list of podcast hosts. There's the connections to clients blueprint, the ultimate guide to post and profile for clients, the influencer list, how to use super connectors to exponentialize your reach, right? The influence PDF that Mandy's already given you, right? The content calendar, right? And then the one that you added here live, which was the podcast one sheet, right? So does everybody feel like they've gotten, that we've delivered on our promise during this training today?
While they're answering that, yeah, we got yeses here. Cynthia, who's in our program, is in the program. She joined because she's hosting retreats or interested in that concept. And so she's been working on using LinkedIn to connect with people all over the world who might either help support her event or be a part of her event. And she's had some amazing transformations for herself with that.
We've also been hired by the U.S. military through an organization called American Dream University, and we put together a program very similar to the one we discussed today around helping those in the military who are transitioning back into the workforce, leaving the military, going back into the private sector, to utilize LinkedIn to help them get a job or start a business or become an entrepreneur or get hired as a consultant. And we were recognized by that organization and out of one of them, anybody they could have chosen. And we, spoke live to a group of people that were graduating, I guess you'd say, right? And have a program designed so this program is super flexible to meet any goal that you have as things evolve for you.
And here's where, look, if all you want is podcasts, let's put this into perspective here. If all you want is podcasts, we have other organizations. When I originally reached out to Joe and we were talking about why we were going to use LinkedIn, and we were sort of, let's just say, justifying the investment of our team managing his profile for him on a regular basis, we did some research, and there are organizations out there who will book you for podcasts, and the going rate for that is for 2 podcasts a month. They guarantee they'll book you for 2 a month. It's $500, right? If you want 4 podcasts a month, it's $1,000, right? So right now, if And that's not even like, they don't even help make sure. So we've had, I've known other people in the mastermind groups I participated in stuff with, right, who've gone and done that podcast investing and been like, yeah, I got booked for 4 podcasts, right? I spent $1,000. And then they're crying because, oh, but I didn't know that I needed the people to come back to my website. I needed to seed the conversation that I was having on that podcast to really, it's about problem, solution, right? Like you're talking on the podcast and you're talking about a problem you've got for people, but just like I've iterated for you guys tonight, and it's good news, bad news. Like, yes, this thing is good, but you're going to have a new problem afterwards. And here's how I want to help you solve that. And you know what? You're going to have another problem after that. And here's how I can help you solve that. If you are really a transformational leader, then you have to be showing people the light of like, look, there's all this stuff you got to have on the way to transformation. And, you know, if it's light and fun to work with somebody who's going to support you in all of that, like, I'm your person, right? So I really want to support you in, and that's why we looked at something today where the program had some similar benefits to what we were doing, and their LinkedIn program was $2,500. All right. And you got rotated between different coaches. You never got run, and you didn't get specific insight into what's going on, and you didn't get access to all of the other resources that are sort of required to figuring out all these next steps.
Right. And I just want to say thank you to Cynthia, one of our current students, who's given us a congratulations and a recommendation.
And Denny said some great stuff too. She says, I know that the content that you two offers incredible insight, value, and support on both pragmatic and energetic levels.
Yeah. So we appreciate that, guys. And we appreciate, Cynthia's coming here because she likes sort of being in our space, and we're grateful that we have her, in our community. And we're wanting to make an invitation for some of you guys to step up today and take the plunge, enjoy a brand new you in 2018. Mm-hmm. And can I get a hell yeah in the chat, and let's get some people in so we can get started.
Any questions you have on if the program's right for you or not? I think it's definitely a no-brainer sort of price.
If there's any gaps in where you see you are at and how this might impact you, this is a great opportunity to talk it out.
And I do have the option to take your line if you're quiet. I can take your questions too. If you're not into the chat thing, we can take you live if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question. All right. Sometimes people are afraid to ask questions too. Another way to ask questions. So here's another option, everybody. And we do have some people, joining in on that. That's awesome. And I don't want to, I'm not going to call you out there, but I appreciate the people who are joining us. Thank you for that. If you already sort of know that this is something that sounds amazing to you, but you know that you don't have the time to deal with it, contact Ron or I, either on Facebook or you guys are on my email list. Reply to the email that I send tomorrow with the replay, and let's hop on a call so that we can talk about options of, Ron and I do have year-long coaching programs where, if you need more help in building the sales funnels, we've got a team who can support you in doing that. If you need more help in, I don't know what to offer, right? Then we've got support that can help you with that. Or if you're like, you know what, I don't want to do all the LinkedIn management, can you help me with that? We've got a program, and we've got various different options with our team that can help support you in that too. So open to all of those possibilities for you. But the first thing to sort of start with, if this is some avenue you want to play in, if you want a real strategy for 2018 to get booked for podcasts, little amount of effort on a daily basis, and you can start getting yourself booked and then start monetizing it.
Love that.
Cool. All right, we've gone over our time. I want to let everybody go if there are no particular questions. And again, you're free to email us if you have any questions that you don't want to sort of ask everybody in person. We will get you the replay for this by tomorrow morning. and can't wait to start playing with the people who are in the program that are looking to get booked for more podcasts.
Thanks for those of you that are joining. We look forward to talking to you soon. I appreciate your time tonight. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you again real soon.
Bye, everybody.